Welcome to Driving Immersion for the immersive driving experience. Don't forget to give us a like or a thumbs up and also comment below. It really helps us get our content out there for everyone to see.
Welcome along then to what promises to be another fascinating Spanish Grand Prix, a race which saw Max Verstappen win on his first ever appearance with the Red Bull team in 2016. This after the dramatic coming together of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg on the first lap. Will we see more moments for the scrapbook here today? The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat this weekend. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Vettel, Charles Leclerc and Albon, Perez, Sainz, Norris and Lance Stroll, Gasly, Magnussen, Antonio Giovinazzi, the Professor, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo and Roman Grosjean, Schumacher, Russell, Latifi and Esteban Ocon rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, let's see if we can keep the momentum up. Let's get another points finish.
I know what you're thinking, right? We're at Catalunya, and Formula One has been here since 1991. So we should have a pretty good handle on the track, and we should be able to qualify pretty well. But as you can see, we are in 14th place, and that's pretty far back on the grid. But again, we are a first-year team. So the car was certainly lacking. We had a 2.2 second lag to the front runners, but we're going to deal with it the best we can. For the race, we're on a one-stop pit strategy, beginning with the medium tires, yellow tires, and then going on to the hard tires, the white letter tires. And both of them are going to be running as worn for a long time in the race. So what we're going to do is we're going to sneak in a set of red tires at the very end and reduce the time in use on worn tires. Hopefully we can get some fast laps at the end and gain time. We're just about ready to go. There's a track map right there. We are again going clockwise around the track. So we will start at the bottom of the screen there.
We're not seeing any technical issues coming off the practice start. Watch the RPM on a full start. We don't want to bog down.
Right about here is where the speed trap is, and we are coming into turn 1, which is a 4th gear or 3rd gear turn, depending on how you have your car set up. Coming in through turn 3 here. And then it's going to be flat out. Turn 4. Sometimes third gear or fourth gear.
Conditions look stable at the moment. No rain currently expected.
And down to turn 5, which is a sharp left. This is going to be a second or third gear turn. Turn 6, and then turn 7 right here is a left-hander with a little bit of a kink to the right, which is turn 8. Through a DRS detection zone, through turn 9, and the second DRS zone. Down to a very slow turn 10, sometimes second gear or first gear. Again, it's going to depend on how much grip you have. Turn 11 is a left. Turn 12 is a long right. And we will be going down to third gear here just to get some bite in the front tires. Same here with turn 13, 14 and 15. Very slow down to first gear, second gear, and then third gear before we start to accelerate out to turn 16.
We are starting with a deficit of fuel. Checking my mic. Check 1. Check.
And down to main straight for the first DRS zone. So as you can see there, it's a nice sunny day. No weather to deal with at the moment. And we're going. So I have a pretty good start, good bite on the tires, very little spinning. Perhaps early on in first gear, but through second and third we had pretty good grip. And then once we were just about ready to get out of third, that's when we activate the ERS for more boost. And of course, no matter how much fuel we have on board for the first lap or so, we're going to be running rich just to keep up with the other cars, hoping for a opportunity to jump in and pass somebody. There's a good jump right there, and I believe that would be Grosjean, I believe. So here we are, lap 1. We are chasing down another one of the racing points. And again, we were able to dive in. Can we make it through? Yes. So up to 11th place now.
It's Gasly up ahead. We gotta catch him.
That is Peter Gasly ahead in the AlphaTauri, and he is one of our rivals at this point in the season. So we are expected to pass him, or at least do better than him throughout the races. Down to third gear for turn 1, turn 2. Back up to 7, and we lift off a little bit again just to get the front tires to bite. Turn 4 is a little bit tricky in that it's a long right turn, and you're going to have to just wait until the car settles down and sits flat before you accelerate out. Riding now with Daniel Ricciardo in a Renault, looking at the 66 from behind. Little lock up there. And I believe we are riding with Lance Stroll in the Racing Point, looking back at the 66. And you can see here that he's putting a little distance on us. So it's very possible that he may have a good downforce there in the slow section. So if you accelerate out of turn 4 too early, you can spin around. And that happened to us a couple of times in the practice sessions. So you can see there on the steering wheel that we are minus 7 laps of fuel. And that's going to dictate that we are going to be conserving fuel throughout the race.
These yellows are very difficult to drive.
Daniel Ricciardo has a good look inside, but he's not close enough. And now he's got the racing point right behind him.
Okay, gap ahead is 1.7 seconds.
Well, in our experience with the fuel, as far as being in deficit, we learned from the previous races that the car will eventually make it up as long as you don't burn it off too soon or too much. So for most of the race, we're actually going to be using the rich fuel mixture, but only through the long straight here. And we are going to be using that in conjunction with the ERS boost. So you can see here that even though Daniel Ricciardo is close to us on the exit, we kind of stretch out a distance as we go down the straight. Even though he's got the DRS, he's still not fast enough to be able to pass us into turn 1. So that is going to be our strategy for the race. Another major lock up there with the 66. Again, turn 4 is very tricky. Cautiously through turn 7, it can wash you out. And you need to be in the right place at the right point in the track to get through turn 8, which is just right after. So you need to string those two turns together. Turn 14 and 15 here. A little slow accelerating out, but again, we are working with the fuel mixture and the ERS. Now the downshifting to turn 1 there, as you saw, you actually have to time the shifts correctly so that you are putting in bite to the front tires at the right place and the right time. You don't want to downshift too soon and then your weight is back on the rear wheels. So you have to time the downshifts just right. There's a tall curve there on the right coming out of 8. And that one you want to avoid. Run a little wide through there. Riding again with Lance Stroll, looking at the Renault. And you can see here that we do get a good jump out of turn 16. And even though both cars behind us have the DRS wing open, they're still just not close enough or fast enough down the straight to get by. So our pit strategy is to come in on lap, I believe, 20 with the 3-stop. And if we went with a 2-stop, it'll be lap 28. So that's kind of a window that we're going to be holding for ourselves, depending on how the tires are wearing. And these are the yellows, so we should have pretty good life out of them. Unlike the reds or the soft tires, once they've gotten to a certain point, they're just not worth keeping on anymore. But the yellows here we can stretch out a little bit, even though they may be past their best grip level. And we're going to want to try to use them as much as we can, because if we do a 1-stop, we are saving about 30 seconds worth of race time, and that's going to bring us up through the field pretty well. 30 seconds is a lot. So there was a good example of Daniel Ricciardo. He got a good jump on us coming out of 16, and he was just under our wing coming down the straight. Our race setup is with 5 on the wing in the front and 5 on the wing in the rear. So it is pretty even and distributed
These
pretty
yellows
well.
really suck.
Yes, at this point the yellow tires are quite a lot of work to handle. We only used yellow set for, I believe, about 6 or 7 laps throughout the practice session. Through the, I think it was Friday practice 1. Then after that, we were using just reds. We did elect to go with a softer set of tires for the weekend. So we were hoping to use a bunch of reds throughout the race. But again, it would just cost us time coming into the pits to change them out. So we are going to see how we can do with these yellow tires, and if they do last to lap 28, we will probably just stay on the white tires, the hard tires, to finish the race and stick with a 1-stop pit strategy. But we are still a long way from there. And you can see here that the Renault is still challenging us. It's still pretty close, and anytime that Racing Point wants to come up, he's pretty fast. And this weekend there's no weather to equalize the cars, so we have to be at 100% throughout the race. Through 14 and 15 here. Now, early in the race, I had the rear differential set at 75. I believe once we moved on to the white tires, we did change that to 70%. So at this point, Pierre Gasly has gotten away. He's not even in sight at this point. But again, our strategy here is to conserve and maintain the tires. We are still in a deficit with the fuel. But you can see here that even though we are using it up through the main straight here, that we are still able to recover some laps out of it. Riding again with Lance Stroll down the main straights, DRS open. So as you saw there, once we got up to top speed, we reduced our fuel mixture back down to standard. Now the cars in front have gotten away, but we're still racing pretty well with the two behind us here. Looking back at Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault, he does have his DRS open, so he is able to make up a little bit of ground, even though it's a short straight. Turn 12. Turn 13. Again, very slow through here. There's Daniel Ricciardo. He's going into the pits.
We're leading our teammate by 30.
Okay, so Ricardo pitted already.
Seconds.
By lap 12.
And he did change on to the yellows, the medium tires. Now we didn't make it to Q3, so we're able to put on a new set of tires or choose whichever tires we wanted to start the race with. But if we made it to Q3, we would have to start the race with the tires that we had on when we ran our fastest lap. And that made choosing the tire strategy a little bit confusing. Both the yellow and the white tires are mandatory for the race. You have to use one of them. And depending on which one you use, you may have 2 or 3 pit stops to schedule because of their difference in longevity. So now we're racing with Lance Stroll. He has his DRS open. So far this season, the Mercedes engines have been pretty fast. And the racing points have been very fast. Looking back at Lance Stroll, he is able to make up a lot of distance in this very short, curvy section of the track. ERS is open, but again, he can't make the distance. We've got our ERS and a rich fuel mixture going at the same time. Hopefully that'll stand to the straights as we go through the race. Over the shoulder here, you can see that we are using our ERS throughout the lap. So at about 25% with the ERS, we're able to make it all the way down the straight with the ERS activated for boost. Now going on lap 16, we are lapping very conservatively, not taking too many risks, and not trying to put a lot of wear on the tires. Again, our strategy is to change out at lap 20, but if we can make it to 28, then we can only do a one lap or a one pit stop strategy. So we had to back off there quite a lot into turn 3, and through the practice sessions when we were running the reds, we didn't have to back out at all, and that's the difference in grip between the mediums and the softs. Very wide through there now, making a couple of mistakes. And because Lance Stroll is very close, we are driving with our mirrors. And that's probably what's causing a lot of these mistakes. Good takeoff there, but he's very close, and once the DRS is open, and it's open now, you can see that he's making up a lot of ground. Sometimes 8 to 10 miles per hour faster. But again, he just runs out of space, and we beat him into turn 1.
Still don't like these tires?
Now, as you can see there, he's got the yellow tires on as well. So it's very possible that he may go on to lap 28 and do a one stop. And very close through turn 16 here, but again, you can see that we got a good jump on him. There's his DRS. He just opened it with a button on the steering wheel, and he will start to recover a little bit of distance here. But again, he's just a little too far. Turn 2, and again, long turn 3 here. Now he's actually got a lot of ERS available to him, about 50 to 60%. And I just don't know why he's not using it. We actually got a radio from the pit that if we don't use that ERS energy and keep it in storage, it actually wears the storage units down a little bit faster. So we learned to use it all up, or most of it, early on in the race, and then maintain anything from 10 to 25% throughout the laps, and we try to burn off what we make on each lap. And that seems to have given us enough boost throughout the lap to be able to race with the other cars here. Again, this is a first year car, and we don't really expect too much competition out of it. Another good jump for the 66, and that's just enough distance that the Racing Point can't make. Down to third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear here, and then we accelerate out. Sixth gear, seventh gear, back off a little bit. Put weight on the front tires. Go up to eighth gear using the ERS. Down to 4, down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ERS. All the way down to 2. And we accelerate out in fourth gear. Now through 7 and 8 here, we're going to go down to sometimes 3 or 4, depending on how set we are with the grip. Used to be that turn 9 was a flat-out turn, but the rules have changed over the years, and power and grip have changed as well. So we do back off going into turn 9. Because it's actually a blind turn, so if you do go in too fast, you will slide out into the gravel. Lose a lot of time, if not end your race. Still keeping Stroll behind. So one of the things that we had to incorporate in the driving style is to accelerate out in a higher gear than we would normally accelerate out in, just so that we can use the power and not have to worry about losing traction in the rear wheels. Now you saw earlier that there was a lockup there just as we got into turn 13, and turn 13 is actually complicated in that it does fall away, so the turn is not cambered positively towards the car, And because of that, you do have to reduce your speed, and even though it looks like a simple turn, you do have to reduce your speed, and if not, then you're going to end up locking because the car just becomes weightless as you're braking hard. Still racing with Lance Stroll here. He's keeping good and steady. He does have his DRS, which is an advantage of us. And I believe that's how he gets close to us in this tighter, windy section. But again, it has not been enough to get him down the straight and past us. But I don't believe that he'll stop trying. Here we go again. DRS is open. Still not close enough to make a move. Down to turn 10, very, very slow here, and we still don't have our DRS. 11 and 12. Stroll is very close here, and we'll see what he can do. Lap 23, and we are only 4 laps behind in fuel, so we are making up the fuel. I believe by the time the end of the race comes in, we'll still have fuel enough to finish at this point, the way that we are using it. The ERS is also working well. We're able to recover enough energy throughout the lap. We did change the motor generator kinetic, the MGUK, and the MGUH, as well as the turbo. And we did change out the combustion engine. After the second practice session. The car was just not going fast enough. We were looking for a little bit more speed. I believe all those changes only gave us about a second and a half. So we were actually quite a ways further. And we actually had a failing part at the last race. So we wanted to make sure that we changed all those out. Again, this is Spain. Formula One has been racing here since 1991. So we're pretty familiar with the track, and we are expecting results. And we didn't want to get involved with this race with the old parts, only to expect a failure. So we do have all of those parts in the drivetrain new for this weekend. Down to second gear, very good through here. Up to third gear so we can accelerate out, limiting our wheel spin. That turn 11 is a little bit strange in that you do have to use the curb, and unfortunately the car will fly up a little bit and come down just before you get into turn 12. So you don't want to go too fast going into turn 11, or otherwise you'll just slide out or miss turn 12 altogether. Here's Stroll with a good attempt. Not enough. Now we've been watching the last few laps as we come down to turn 1, and he hasn't made an attempt at all. And that time he made an attempt on the outside, and it's leading us to wonder why. Lap 25 now. We are going to make it to lap 28. And we're going to revert back to our one-stop pit strategy. The tires have declined in grip, but they're still certainly manageable at this point. And the car behind us is on the same set of tires. Again, coming down the main straight, he's just not close enough to make an attempt, either inside or outside. Now turn 5 here, you do have to prepare for it. It is going downhill, so that once you get to your braking zone, you're not going to have as much brake force going through the tires and to the ground. So you need to slow down just a little bit before it starts going downhill to reduce your speed, because you won't find the brakes at the bottom. Turn 13, 14, shifting up early, 15, 16. Again, we hit the ERS button as soon as we get into put equal weight on the tires. And that is allowing us to accelerate out a little bit earlier, and you can see here that we did put a little gap on Lance Stroll, at least for the moment. Now he must be conserving his tires pretty well. He's able to stay out this long as we are staying out. And it would be just curious to see what their strategy is for the pits. Even if we are content with the one stop, there's always the thought of doing a two stop with the super softs at the end. And again, that may depend on if we're close to anybody at the end of the race, or if we can make some gains. But if we do stop, it's usually about 20 to 30 seconds of time that we lose. You can hear there that we are short shifting, again just to get to a higher gear as we accelerate out and
Boxes lap.
prevent a loss of traction. So here we are, lap 28. We will be stopping at the end of this lap to change into the white tires, the hard tires. And when you put those on new compared to these mediums as used, you will have a little bit more grip than we have now. But it's nothing close at all to what these yellows had in grip when we first put them on, or when we first started the race. So the grip is declining as the race goes on, but the car is getting lighter, and that kind of equals out to our advantage. Looking for the quick turn into the pit lane. There we are. And Lance Stroll is right behind us. He's going to copy our strategy for now. We'll see how he does. He does have a choice of going on the reds or perhaps another set of yellows, maybe, depending on how you set up his race weekend. So there's the white tires, the hard tires. And we do come out just ahead of Lance Stroll. He almost beat us out, even though we had a very good pit stop. And I have lost places throughout the season so far in the pits, even with just a tenth of a second in delay changing tires in the pits. So we're happy with that result. Let's see how this works. And as you can see there, Daniel Ricciardo is again just in front of us. So we are just right about where we are supposed to be. Now, Daniel Ricciardo has the yellow tires, which are a little bit grippier than the white tires that we have on now. And that's why you can see that he is getting away a little bit. It will take a few laps for his tires to decline. I believe he came in on lap 12. So he may have another 5 or 6 laps, maybe 8 laps before they decline and he's got to change out. But right now he's a lot faster than us with those yellows. There's another car coming out of the pits. That was an Alfa Romeo. Turn 6, turn 7, turn 8. Again, you don't want to run wide coming out of turn 7, because running wide means you're too close to the inside of turn 8, which is a very tall curve. It'll certainly throw your car off to the left. And there's a wall not too far off from the track on your left hand as you come out of turn 8. So you want to make sure that you don't hit that curb on turn 8. Another good exit, but you can see the Renault has disappeared. That was turn 9. Again, you don't want to come out wide. There's a big gravel trap there.
Trying to drive steady. Have no grip and no speed.
Nice and cautious through here. We've been racing this track since 2009. This section here has actually changed since then to include the chicane as you come out to the main straight here. At that time, the cars were exiting into the main straight too fast, and a lot of cars were sliding out into the wall to the left. And that's the reason why they put the chicane, which would be 14 and 15. I believe in some of the non-sanctioned
The car in front is 5.6 seconds.
in some of the non-sanctioned races on this track, they still use that original exit onto the main straight. But for Formula One, it's been like that, I believe, since at least 2013. There's the gravel trap on the left, riding with Lance Stroll, looking at the 66, making ground on us with his DRS. So just about halfway through the race, the weather's still holding out pretty good. You can see there that there's just very light clouds, not enough to call it overcast.
Behind is 26.6 seconds.
Very early shifting here, just to avoid any tire spin. Now we put on these white tires about 5 or 6 laps ago, and they're still taking some getting used to. They usually come in about 1.5 to 2 laps, and then after that you can start to kind of count on them. But before they get heated up and broken in, they're actually very slippery. But right now they're actually doing well.
The gap to the car ahead is 7.6 seconds. Okay, the safety car is out. The safety car is out. We need to form up at a reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive. Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta is negative, which means you are too fast. Reduce your pace.
There's no one in front of me.
Okay, we're low on fuel. Try shifting up the gears a little sooner. This should help us save some fuel.
So halfway through the race, we are still in a fuel deficit, 2.9 laps behind. There's a safety car,
Overtake the
and
safety car. You may overtake the safety car. It is waiting to pick up the leader.
we're gonna pass him and come back around. So at this point, we are planning now for actually a pretty long safety car period. There's a replay. I believe that is Antonio Giovinazzi, and his engine has let go. You can see the smoke coming out of the rear, and I believe that would be through the 7 and 8 section, turn 7 and 8 section of the track. Here we are riding with one of the Haas, and you can see that his engine just let go, letting off a lot of smoke. Back now with the 66 with Lance Stroll in tow. We are still trying to make it to the safety car group here. And when we rejoin, we will be at the end of the pack. So if you remember our last race, we had about 6 or 7 of the front runners behind us when the safety car left the track so that we could get back to racing, and we had to let all of them go. So this time, no worries. They're all up there behind the safety car. And we are watching him to see if his lights will turn off, and that will indicate that he'll be coming in at the end of the lap. But I think he's still waiting for us to catch up. I don't know that part of the rules, if he's waiting for us to catch up or if he's able to leave and let the race continue. But again, we did lose a lot of time. When he picked up the leaders here, and that is Valtteri Bottas in front. The Haas that you see there in between the two Mercedes is not racing with them. And I can't quite make out who that is. There he is. I can't quite see the numbers. Again, we're still trying to make it up to the safety car queue. We are running about 80 to 90% here just to catch the queue. But we don't want to make any mistakes. We are still going pretty fast. If we do fall off, we're certainly going to lose this position. And any time that we're off the track is going to be a lot of time. You can see there by the little map on the lower left of the screen that little red dot had just disappeared off into the track. So we're getting a little bit closer. Hopefully by the end of the main straight here, we'll be caught up to them. And I believe that's what's happening, is that the safety car is waiting for us to catch up. And then Lance Stroll, who's behind us right now, can't pass us unless, of course, we are going too slow or if we fall off the track. But he's supposed to maintain his place. Again, there's no racing under the yellow or the safety car period. But if we do have a spin or have an accident and fall off the track, even through the safety car or yellow flag period, he will be allowed to pass us. And we will lose that place. Looking for the yellow lights to turn off. And you'll actually see Valtteri Bottas back off, just so the safety car can...
Stay in position until the green flags.
There we are. He's coming in this lap, at the end of this lap. And you can see that he's no longer in view of Valtteri as he had let him go. And Valtteri Bottas is going to take us through turn 16 very slow, and then he'll accelerate out. And in an effort to leave us behind. So we're back to racing. The green flag is dropped, and our tires are cold. We have a big slip right there coming out of turn 16, and Lance Stroll has gotten around.
Switching to a lower fuel mix, we may not finish on the current settings.
I have to run the high fuel mixture here, just hoping that I can get by. And we are bumping wheels. I'm accelerating a little too hard. You can see there that I lost my back end a little bit, and I had to back off, and that's what gave him the go-ahead. And now he's got distance. I have been racing with him for most of the race, and hopefully I can get back up there and continue to race. At this point, I can expect that he's not going to stop for tires either, as that was a good long safety car period, and he's saved his tires from wear. So you can see he's gotten a lot of distance already. Hopefully this traffic will slow him down. That's my teammate. He's got the blue flag. Here's the Williams. He's also got the blue flag, and he'll let us go in just a second. You can see there that the tire temperatures are still not up to racing temperatures. I believe we should be up. We should be up about 212 or at least over 200 for them to be up to temperature. And you can see that Lance Stroll now is got a good distance on us. We didn't get much of a tow from the Williams coming down the straight, which is what we were hoping for.
With this motor.
Now, Lance Stroll is very fast now. You can see that he's got a good distance. We're not even close enough for the DRS, but I believe it's not activated yet. It's usually a couple of laps after we go back to green. But he had a very good jump on us out of turn 16. And we tried everything, including getting our nose in there to block him off, but he was not going to give up. So there's the distance from Stroll's car.
Great.
We're hardly a dot in his view. And even through the braking section there, we're not able to make any ground. Back with the 66, looking at Lance Stroll, trying to see if there's something that we can do to get back up there and race with him. Right about here is where we would take advantage of some DRS speed, but again, we don't have it available to us. We are not close enough. Poor exit out of there. I did gas up a little too hard while still in second gear, and I had to back off, and you can see there we had to jump to fifth gear just to get everything back under control. Get
You've
the weight
lost
back
access
under the
to one of
wheels.
the gears. We've lost one of the gears due to a fault.
Okay, lap
Go
41 of
is
66.
1.5 seconds.
We have lost one of our gears. Let's see which one it is. Fifth gear. Fifth gear is right in the middle, so we have to go through fifth gear every time we come to a turn and go through a straight. And it's going to be a major inconvenience. You can see there that there is a big difference in engine speed and horsepower and torque and so on.
I don't have
Going
fifth gear.
from fourth to sixth.
Right, we've looked at the gearbox issue, but I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. Try and drive around it. We'll just have to hope for the best. Remember that you have a lot of torque in these power units, so you should be able to stay in higher gears for a lot of the lap.
So if I had any hope to race with Lance Stroll up there, it kind of just went away right now. We're going to have to wait for him to make a mistake in order for us to catch up. I still don't have fifth gear. So right here you can see that I held on to the ERS for a little bit longer just so that we could get to a higher speed. Again, just to compensate for the lack of fifth gear. Now I believe we saw a flash of a white car in the background. That may be...
But that has allowed Stroll to get away.
That may be Pierre Gasly back there, and again, he is our rival, so we are racing with him. Lap 43, still quite a few number of laps left and still a lot of racing to do. So we have to get back up the pace and make sure that we don't let Pierre Gasly get any closer.
Zero stops.
Yes, that is an AlphaTauri back there. That was Daniel Ricciardo. I wonder why he let Lance Stroll through. Maybe he's having a problem with his car. Now, there's a little bit of a race going on just ahead of us, so hopefully that will slow them down. and give us a chance to get up there. Turn 9, touch the curb just a little bit. Don't want to go too fast because you'll end up in the sand trap on the outside. DRS zone. Coming into 10. Turn 11. And turn 12. Again, the car comes a little bit weightless through turn 11. So back up to third and up through the gears real fast as we go down the straight.
Control's done.
Yes, at least Lance Stroll is taking off from these two in front of us now, so he's putting on quite a distance. Turned in a little too early coming into 7, and we had to slow down for turn 8, so we lost time there. Again, you have to put those two together when you're going through that section.
Who's behind me?
So as we were coming out of turn 16, I saw a car back there, but that wasn't the AlphaTauri. That is the Williams, and he was given the blue flag to let us go. We're not racing with him. Now, are we going to make it up to the Renault? There is Lance Stroll going through turn 16 and down the main straight. I believe that Renault that is just ahead of us, that may be Esteban Ocon. We are not racing with him. And I got a little flash in the background there. That is a Red Bull and a couple of McLarens. And right now, this is where our one-stop pit strategy is showing the advantage. There's a Red Bull. I believe that would be Alex Albon. So there's the 66 with the Williams in between and the Red Bull coming up. So going on to lap 49 now, the white tires have come in and driving well.
I don't know what you're talking about.
At this point, we are actually in a surplus
Dropping a second a lap to the car behind. 1 second.
situation with the fuel, plus 0.38 laps. And that's why we left it on rich through the main straight. And as you just heard, we are dropping a second a lap to the car behind us, which is the Red Bull of Alex Albon. And it may be just that he's very fast, and he was faster than us through practice and qualifying, so his car is definitely faster. We are only ahead of him because we are in a one lap pit strategy. 0.47 laps ahead now in the fuel. Still in standard mode. We're going to go into rich mode here as soon as we can accelerate out. Here we are.
Pit window open. Let's box this lap.
So we just got the radio that the pit box still thinks we're coming in for 3 stops. And again, I just wanted to leave that as an option before we went into the race. The original strategy was to have a single stop with just these 2 tires, the yellow and the white tires. You can see here now that Alex Albon is right up to us. Turn 11, turn 12, very slow. Shift up as soon as you see the pylon on the right and start to accelerate out. 15, 16 coming up. Go rich and stand on the ERS.
7.0 seconds.
Now you can see with the proximity arrows there that there's actually a couple of cars behind us. One of them obviously is going to be Alex Albon, and you'll see that sometimes it fades out, sometimes it goes to 2 arrows, and when it's showing 2 arrows, he's very close. When the arrows go from white to red, his front wing is actually ahead of our rear tire. And that just means that we have to be very cautious not to move either right or left, as he may be there. So at this distance, it would be showing 2 arrows. And now that we are pulling away from him, it'll be going down to just a single arrow.
No doubt.
And so now we are racing with these 3 cars behind us. That would be Alex Albon in the Red Bull, and I believe that is Sergio Perez in the Racing Point. And it looks like the McLarens had split their pit strategy, as they were together earlier on in the race, and now we only see one. I believe that is Lando Norris again, back in the McLaren. If you remember last race, we had a very good race with him. Riding now with the Racing Point, looking at the Red Bull of Alex Albon. Just calculating his moves, looking for the right spot to pass the 66. So it looks like at this point we are actually in rich fuel mixture, and that would have started from turn 9 going down the short straight there to turn 10. We're going to stay on the rich mixture through the main straight, and that's going to help us a little bit. You can see there that the proximity arrow is fading a little bit, so we are putting a little bit of distance on Alex Albon here, but he's got the DRS. And he's able to get right beside us, but again, we have the inside. So there's really not much that he could do. At least this time. Now again, we do have a lot of development work going on in the car, and for upcoming parts and upgrades and so on. But again, it takes time, and that is leaving us to have to struggle with the car here. It is doing relatively well for a first-year car, but you can see that the other cars are so much faster through the lap. Although not faster down this main straight, because they would be around us by now. You can see that Albon's very close, coming out of 16. Not enough down the main straight. Now, I've had these three guys in tow for several laps now, and none of them have made a move. Well, at least Albon did, but it was certainly unsuccessful.
Why am I losing speed?
And he's on the white tires. Right about there, it felt like we were losing speed. As the race comes to a close, the car should be lighter. The tires should be working less, so you should be able to get more speed out of it, but the car just seems flat coming through the straights, and certainly doesn't have that punch coming out of the corners. And it's been getting worse like that throughout the race. Big lock up there coming in through 13. That's 14. This is 15. 16. We've got a good healthy distance here, but they will have their DRS activated right there, and you can see that they are making up the distance. Not enough. still have the 3 cars in tow. It looks like Albin's got a good run this time. Not enough. And that allowed the Racing Point to get around. Now, I usually have concern when Perez is behind there, and obviously his car is faster, but when it's Perez, he will take chances, and he will make them work to get around. All 3 cars behind have their DRS open. Riding now with the McLaren, I believe this is Carlos Sainz. And it appears that all 4 cars here, including the 66, are on white tires. So this will be the set that we finish with. And this is going to be the race. So there's Perez, he's very close. Just need to make a minor mistake and he'll be able to find his way around. Going through the gears here, short shifting so we can accelerate sooner. There we are. Standing on the ERS button, don't want to be pulling him down the straight. He's got his DRS open, so he's able to get right beside us. There he is. Again, not enough. And that's going to allow Alex Albin to get right back up. Again, doing a lot of short shifting here. The white tires should still have plenty of life left. There's Albin, he almost made it all the way around. But we were able to outbrake him on the inside of turn 10. He should have a good run down the straight here, and you can see that I'm taking the inside line just so that I don't pull him or the other 2 cars down the straight. He doesn't have enough to get close, and we keep our place for another lap, at least through turn 1. there's his advantage with the DRS. The 8 to 10 miles per hour certainly will bring you back if you're falling back. It appears there's another McLaren in the back, and that may be Lando Norris, and it may be that he had come in for his last set of tires, and that's why he is where he is. Obviously, their strategy for 2 stops has not worked. But we're still racing with Alex Albon here. Again, they're still behind us, so at this point we are trying to drive conservatively, take conservative lines, not too many risks. All we need is one slip up and they're able to get around. Again, there's the advantage of the DRS, and that's going to put him back. And the Racing Point gets ahead of the Red Bull again. And we just hate knowing that Perez is back there. Just started lap 62 of 66, so 4 more laps to go. And I guess you could consider it a successful race. We have not been lapped at this point. But we've got a train of cars behind us now. So I get a little bit of a jump on Perez, which is temporary until I lock up the front tires. And he's right back under our wing. He's definitely going to be close enough coming out of 16 to make an attempt down the main straight. DRS should be open at this point on his car. Not enough. Lap 63. So we're going down to turn 5 here. You can see that we still have the rich fuel mixture on. And right now,
There's 4 laps
it's
of
actually
fuel remaining.
not depleting our fuel too much. So we're going to stay in rich. Here's Perez. Does he have enough speed? No.
21.6 seconds.
This car's got no punch.
The car has no punch. So not much acceleration, even with the rich fuel mixture and the ERS boost on. Penultimate lap, and we still have Perez behind us, and we're able to keep him behind. You can see the proximity arrow has faded, so he's not that close. There it is again. Once we start to apply the brakes, accelerate out, it starts to fade away. The arrows indicate there are several cars behind us. The last thing we want to see is a red arrow. So that was the leader, just lapping the racing point behind us. And he just finished his 66th lap. Valtteri Bottas has won the race. And because he was ahead of Perez as they crossed the line, Perez does not have to race with me or the cars behind him at this point. But I still have to finish ahead of him.
We pretty much burned
So
off our
I'm
excess
still-
fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down.
So at this point of the race, I am still at 99%. So no cars behind us now to race with. Again, we just have to finish this lap. And we will have another points-paying race 2 weekends in a row. Again, the car has come in without any failures. We had to replace the combustion engine with the motor generators, the
Hardest race.
heat and kinetic.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
At least we're in the points.
Yes, that was a very hard race, and we are awarded Driver of the Day.
Driver of the day again.
Second race in a row.
Twice in a
Another
row.
Spanish Grand Prix is over, and what a special race it was. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
But they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
So there's your top three, and again, Mercedes is still running away with the championship. They really do have the fastest car right now.
Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to the Professor. They pushed and found some fantastic performance. It was just a pleasure to watch.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So there's our stats. We did a one-stop race starting from 14th and moved all the way up to 7th, which is, I believe, the highest advancement. And you can see that our fastest lap there is a 1:23.160. For the winner of the race, it's a 1:25.45. So that is just a little over 2 seconds.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
Not at all. The car has the grace of a ballet dancer.
You're beating all expectations. Would you say we all underestimated you?
The team is more than a sum of its parts. When we work together, magic happens.
How do you feel the competition is for you this season?
It's been great. All the drivers are at their best this year.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
I'm not sure what happened, to be honest.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks again for watching at Driving Immersion. Don't forget to give us a like or a thumbs up and comment below. Next race is in Monaco. Subscribe or follow to get reminders. See you then.